Today's episode is sponsored by our friends at Famous Faces and Funnies. Hey, check out their Whatnot app as well as their Facebook Live auctions on great deals. Alrighty, welcome to our monthly comic book pickup episode. I'm your presenter, Shabu Argu. We've been doing this for several years now, and I hope everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving. And now we are neck deep into the holiday season. Boxes stockpiled on the front door that you have to bring in. It's a pain in the ass. Plus, putting up the Christmas lights. Of course, we think about a famous 80s movie, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. How can you not? As you're putting up Christmas lights, I find myself, being in Gen X and stuff, I always think about the Griswolds and stuff like that. But anyway, we have a wonderful selection of comic books to sample. Again, this is November, probably beginning of December pickups. And, for the first time in a long time, I'm going to be honest with you, there's a significant DC amount. So that's good to see. DC Comics. Once again, I'd like to thank our sponsor and good friends, Famous Faces and Funnies, who recently relocated to a new facility showing growth and expansion. You know how awesome that is in these difficult times for LCS and small business owners to see someone just bucking the trends and doing what they're true to themselves. I hope everyone out there has a local LCS. And I know I've been getting messages from a lot of people that do not have a local LCS and how, it's missing. And it's like, oh, I don't know what for a couple of hours. And then, of course, they reach out to Famous Faces. But it's just the experience. There's nothing wrong with getting comics shipped to you but at the same time, like just the other day when I went, just had a conversation about, people going, how vegan people go through Thanksgiving. Because, a lot of people are turning that way. And what meatless options are there? So just this whole other thing, that's what you get at a local LCS. So ours is a treasure. Once again, to Rick and everybody on the team over there, hats off, salute to you for many years of community service and to continue to do so in this new building. So, with that said, let's take a look at our first book. And I'm going to start off with a home run. Now, we're going to start with DC. I mean, I'm wearing a Batman shirt, for goodness sakes. So, why not start with Absolute Batman? Now, this is a series I mentioned about Ultimate Spider-Man, like an alternative Spider-Man in a different universe. Well, DC's answer to Ultimate is Absolute. They're doing the Holy Trinity, Absolute Superman, Absolute Batman, Absolute Wonder Woman. All have different origin stories. So, little twists to the character and going against the norm. For example, and I don't want to give anything away, this guy Batman is fighting in cover number 2 turns out to be Alfred. And Alfred isn't his butler anymore. No. He's totally different. So we'll see a whole bunch of wonderful things. I am pleasantly surprised with the Absolute Batman story. I think issue 1, issue 2 have been really, really good reads, and I'm going to have to add that to the must 2024. So Absolute Batman. Alrighty, so our second book we're going to take a look at is the new Iron Man run. Now, here's the book. And here's the thing. I talked about how Larry Hama recently did a kind of guest run on what's that? Iron Fist. So it was a guest run, and as I read that, I didn't know nothing about Iron Fist legacy, all of his lore, all that stuff. I picked up the book because I was doing covering GI Joe IDW, and I know that Hama went and did that for like a couple of issues. So I wanted to try and read that just to like I've been such a big Larry Hama fan. Like this is something outside GI Joe that he's doing, and it's just a classic, like a master class in how to write a book. You begin your introduction by telling a little bit of the story, who, like the background, just like the basic. So as the reader is going issue to issue, he's kind of like he's building up on that. And I look at these modern books, and these writers seems like they went to a college writing class because they try to cram all this much text and like fully thoroughly explaining when that's what I miss comics in the 80s. I'm going to talk about this when I talk about the X-Men run, is that fine art between art and words where you're minimalistic to convey the set what's being come across to sell. If that makes sense to you, that's what this one is. Just a clusterfuck of stuff. It's like, you know, trying to read a book. Like you can't pay attention. You're more focused on the words than the picture. We're not taking everything in one shot and kind of like getting the whole grasp to push you along in the storyline. Everything in this book and a lot of modern books seems like a chore to get through panel to panel. I hope that makes sense, but this was a big disappointment. I still have no idea what the hell Iron Man is doing, like, in that story. So, jumping up to the next thing, I just mentioned about it. This is the new XMen series, issue number 5. This is the J. Scott Campbell variant cover, so that's kind of what projected me to pick this one up because of the J. Scott Campbell artwork. Um, Here's the thing, reading X-Men as a Gen Xer, I've never gotten into any of the X-Men stories past the Claremont era. So once it's it's like subconsciously when you see X-Men and then you read those books in the 80s, it's kind of like your the tone of the Claremont tone and stuff, how everything feels and looks, it's not there. So how can this be X-Men? So it's tough to pick that up, and like in this book, I couldn't really get into it because it didn't feel like I was reading an X-Men book. I went in with that. It's like the smell of apple pie before you actually smell it because you got that. It's the same thing with X-Men. I'm so in tune to the Claremont way of writing that I can't enjoy an X-Men book beyond that because I'm going into it thinking one thing and it doesn't turn out to be that. Is that fair for it? I don't know because I never, the House of M, all the other stuff, I have no fucking clue. I just didn't get into it. I'm not into X-Men. So, but this is a cool cover. Alrighty, so of course, this channel was a G.I. Joe channel for only G.I. Joe comic channel for so long, where we recapped all the G.I. Joe issues. There's a new series, G.I. Joe issue number 1. Now, you see a lot of these people that jumped onto G.I. Joe and the classifieds, new fans or renewed fans, so to speak. For a lot of the G.I. Joe fans that stuck with it during the dark times, we got plenty of new G.I. Joe titles during the IDW run. So, I know this one's coming in with a little bit more fanfare because it's a new publisher and everything else like that. But like all the variants, there were like 30 variant covers for this issue. It's ridiculous, you know. But I got 2. So I think it's a continuation with where, Scarlet is a different thing. she's eventually going to join the team. But kind of the Duke series kind of leads into what is going on, where he has this, those few Joes, and they form and it's not the 13 that we knew in issue number 1. It's a handful in this one. So, and then Baroness is also on the team. So, I mean, it's interesting. Like, you think the funny thing with this so far is you wonder when Baroness is going to turn. Is she going to be like, because she's starting out on the Joe side, which is new, but you're like, that's the only reason why I want to know when she turns. So that it's going to be interesting to see. But we'll talk about that later. So our next book is going to be Feral issue number 4. I talked about how this is one of the top 3 of 2024 series to read, and I think this is it. So it is really wonderful. I mean, think of it like the Stranger Things type of, and I like the covers that they use. I love this. I think it's such a good. It's a mind, like same thing with the other Stray Dogs. It's like you see the artwork, and it makes it even more terrifying when bad things happen, because you see this cutesy artwork, and then just your Disney mind goes to like, no, Bambi's mom. So it's kind of like that notion. Alrighty, our next book is Absolute Wonder Woman. Again, piggybacking off of what I said about Absolute Batman. This one is different because Wonder Woman isn't raised by the leader of the Amazons. She's raised in hell, I think. So, just the take on Wonder Woman in this one is going to be, I mean, I think this series is definitely worth checking out. I mean, it's been getting rave reviews, and I can't believe I'm agreeing with them, but they are spot on about the Absolute series. Alrighty, so our next book is going to be Detective Comics 1091. I heard good things about Detective Comics, so I wanted to get into it. With the Batman and Spider-Man, I jump in and out, and my regulars know that. So I heard this is another excellent time to jump into Batman Detective Comics. Now we got Absolute Batman, the regular Batman. I mean, Batman. So many Batman titles. So we're going to stick with the Detective Comics. Now here's the other thing. So this is Power Girl issue number 15. Another great artwork. Again, that's what this whole series has been about. It's just been about the cover arts, but the context inside, I would say it's more for teenagers. Oh, this one looks a little bit different. Wow, okay. I've been jumping in and out, periodically with this Power Girl series. It's just, I mean, if you guys remember, like 2 months ago, I did one with the team up between Supergirl and Power Girl. They go to some like imaginaries. I don't know what the hell. But it was like written for like someone that listens to Sabrina Carpenter or some shit like that. Those teeny bop shit. But I just didn't understand it. But the artwork in this is a little bit more grown up. That was drawn like a Powerpuff Girls episode, if that makes sense. I did not like that. But this one looks a little bit more promising, so definitely check it out. Maybe some substance to go along with the cover for Power Girl, so that should be interesting. All right, so we're going to do these together. Issue number 60 and 62 of Amazing Spider-Man. This is a new writer. The Loeb era is finally over. It was a big disappointment, so we have a new writer. What's his name? Kelly? I think so. So I think this is an opportunity for Marvel to try to bring some readers back, because Spider-Man was a big failure for the past year. Cover artist, writer, Joe Kelly. Okay. So I think that when it was announced, I know like a lot of some comic channels I check out were making note that, it was like a breath of thank God. Like, this shit is going to be done with. I don't know if he's going to keep Mary Jane having superpowers and being, I kind of didn't like that. I mentioned that, oh, someone else everyone's getting powers now. Like, no, there's no more regular people anymore. I mean, I guess G.I. Joe is the only one that's basically that real people that aren't superpowered. And of course, we got the Thundercats series. We got, I'm far behind. Issue number 8. I thought I had issue number 9 and issue number 10. And like I've been saying, out of all the iconic Gen X 80s era titles, this one is flying below the radar. Everyone's kind of going towards G.I. Joe and Transformers, and rightfully so, but at the same time, Thundercats is no slouch. There's a lot of things that I liked how the flow of it feels like an episode, the old um, Ranks and Bass uh, um, cartoon episode. So it still kind of feels like that. It's different, but at the same time, same. So I like how so far this is being paced and how the characters are introducing. Some things changed from the cartoon, like Ashitara is basically Lino's surrogate mother, we discovered. So there was no romantic type of things. And of course, last, G.I. Joe issue number 311. Here's the thing about, and I saw another comic book guy talk about this. When it gets to the point where you're not reading your books, you're just getting them, it becomes not fun. And I think, when I first started in 2014, I was just focusing on G.I. Joe, the Larry Hama stuff, educating those few of us that were still interested in G.I. Joe. What's going on, bringing in the Marvel era, combining what we're learning in, kind of get the full story. And that's, was so much fun for so many years. When I got burned out from G.I. Joe, I stopped reading because I just was so into it, dissecting it, breaking it down, editing, cutting it up, putting out a story. I think when you do that for so many years, you do get burned out. And that's why I haven't done any G.I. Joe recaps like I used to do for so many years. And, maybe I'll get back to it down the road. But I think like just presenting things like this for now, so you could choose and go on your adventures, is also good too. So I do appreciate people that have stuck around. And I hope that, the G.I. Joe fan base will just, these are things that we all like. So there will be a lot of G.I. Joe stuff going forward, a lot of, retro. I just want to bring a whole plate of the overall experience, not just channel to one thing, because we never were like that. We were into video games, we were into comic books. I mean, that was a whole part of being a Gen Xer, is like we didn't have our faces glued to the phones. We allocate this much time to this much time to that. That's why we were good multitaskers, is because we were so many things in so little time. You wanted to get to everything. So I think that's what I'm trying to do with this channel. Is just bring that whole smorgasbord of what it was being us, and just enjoying that for what it is. So that aside, thank you for watching this video, and please go to Famous Faces, check out their amazing their WhatsApp, and they also have their Facebook Live auctions. Check out their online places and let them know we sent you there. So thanks again to Famous Faces and Funnies for all of these years of friendship and support. Thank you guys. And of course, we'll see you on the next episode of Codename YouTube Hero 2. This is Shibu RU. We'll catch you later. Bye.